Salvē, amici, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at John chapter 5, verses 4 and 5. In the text I have today, we've got the brackets around it to represent the verses that we do not find in the Textus Criticus, which would be drawn from the oldest surviving sources available. The Clementine would not have had those brackets, them not being invented even, nor would they have acknowledged such a thought that verse 4 and the end of verse 3 do not belong, because that's what they had available to them. They didn't have the papyri and other documents that we have available. So that's just there because the text I pulled it from included it. Ignore it. Moving on, let's take a look at I don't have the previous page. Last time in John chapter 5. Now we can go. Angelus autem Domini descendebat secundum tempus in Piscinam, et movebatur aqua, et qui prior descendiset in Piscinam post motionem aquae sanas fiebat aquacumque detinebatur infirmitate. Erat autem quidam homo ibi triginta et octo annos habens in infirmitate sua. There we have that. Very first word with the US is our nominative singular masculine subject. Autem we've seen before. Domini, I write there, since we already have our nominative singular, we want a genitive to own this, especially since descendebat is a third person singular. The imperfect tense, though the tense of the verb has nothing really to do with what Domini is. It's indicative. So this is genitive, singular, masculine, owning the angel. Curiously, there's no corresponding word in the Textus Criticus Greek that I pulled for the Greek video. Yeah. But in the Old Testament, we're talking about the Angelus Domini. The Angelus Kuriou in the Greek, and I would be declining Hebrew is a little bit more difficult because I haven't had Hebrew quite as long, but it would be something like So when it is in the subject, I'll use our more accustomed terms for you. It's melakal, like that, I think. I could be wrong. But then when you have of the Lord, which is sometimes with the vav, and I'm not going to put any of the vowel marks because I will get them wrong. But when you have the word for Lord right there, the replacement for the tetragrammaton, then this he in a lot of words disappears. I don't know if it does for the word for angel, but it's something like that. Hey, questionable. What it would turn into, though, if it were a feminine noun, I don't remember. Anyway, so when we're talking about the angel of the Lord, the Melech Adonai, the Christian understanding of that is it's you almost always going to be referring to the pre-incarnate Christ. I'm not aware of a single instance where we would definitively say it can't be the pre-incarnate Christ. And one way of telling when it's talking about God himself coming down as Angelus Domini is that when people freak out and bow down and worship him or sacrifice things to him, he doesn't say, no, I am a fellow servant with you, as when you have, I think, Gabriel show up before Daniel. Although I don't remember if Daniel freaked out like other people normally would. Anyway, so that's what we've got going on here. The Latin translator assumes this is the angel of the Lord. And it could be that we have a non-Christian who was doing the translating here and assumed that it wasn't Jesus. But why would you assume Angelus Domini was anybody other than Jesus? Jesus is the one who heals, and here he is, and he comes and he heals this man, and he does it not as the hidden God, but as the revealed God. So just some thoughts. Moving on, secundum is not an adjective, but instead it is a preposition, and it is taking with tempus. This is the accusative case. So it's tempus, temporus. It's a neuter noun, which is why we get back to us as the accusative form, because it matches the nominative form. In is a new prepositional phrase, so close that off. Open this one up. In is taking also the accusative with our am right there, singular feminine noun for the pool we saw previously. I'm going to translate descendebat as a, what would it be? Habitual? Yeah, I think it's the habitual format. So used to. It's no longer taking place as of the time that the scribe, if it was actually a scribe who inserted the text, wrote that down. And yeah, if you want a brief view of ways that you could argue about that, just think about it for a minute, or take a look at the Greek video. I'm going to write down the translation now. Me again. I forgot to explain what secundum was doing with tempus. So secundum plus the accusative can mean according to, in favor of, or it can tell you time. So after. So it would be used to descend after a time. And this might be a set period, so that it was meaning that this is a regular occurrence. That's really the only way that I think we can understand this. The Greek, I should have, that's right here. For the Greek, what I did is at a proper time, so this would also be a set time during the day. Anyway, there's that. Et moebatur, we've got our UR ending on our imperfect ending, so we know how to have a passive, third singular, imperfect still. And it is also indicative with aqua. What's going on here? At aqua. Aqua here is acting as the subject. Interesting. Oh yeah, of course, because it's passive. In the Greek, it's not passive. The verb is instead active. The angel is the one doing the stirring the water, but in this case, the water is stirred. And no agent is expressed. Interesting. At qui prior, qui from qui quod quod, nominative singular masculine with prior, which is also nominative singular masculine, but in this case, comparative form. Just too calm? Yeah, just calm. Descendeset, isset. We have our et ending, but we also have the isse off of then clearly the perfect stem. So we have a pluperfect subjunctive verb. So this is a hypothetical that our translator is talking about. Third singular. Because the implication would be that this doesn't always happen. I mean, it might be sanus fiebat. In Pescinium, same as before, don't need to parse that. Post motionem aquae, post taking accusative with em, aquae with ae being the wrong form. And this is motio, motionis, feminine. All right, and I think we have enough information. So the first person who did this, sanus fiebat. Sanus, I think we've seen this relatively recently. We get the word sanitary from this. We also get the word sane from it. This doesn't mean a person who becomes sane, but instead a person becomes whole, a person becomes healthy. US, nominative singular masculine to match our subject. Fiebat matches these verbs that we've seen before. I'm just going to pull this one down very poorly. Prepositional phrase with the ablative. That's going to be ablative of separation as we would see it in English. Quacumque, so we have that long A right there, which would be the marker of the ablative for this word, singular and feminine. And it must be modifying something. So looking forward, detenebatur, we have our verb right there, passive again, but infirmitate with this E is going to be matching quacumque for ablative, singular, feminine, because this is infirmitas, infirmitatis. You can usually tell that by at, whatever the third declension ending is. And this means what it says, infirmity. And how that is different from the other words that we have for sickness, I'm not sure I could say. Just like I couldn't really say for the Greek, because we're going to be coming to... No. These two match in the Latin, but in the Greek it's two different words. It's nosemati, nosema, and then asthenia, which mean some sort of disease or sickness. But these two match. So, all right. Moving on into verse 5 then. Erat is the imperfect verb. We don't need to parse. Quidam, we have our I right there for the nominative. In this case, it's singular because we also have homo. And masculine, because homo is a masculine noun. Nominative singular masculine is our subject. Taking a look ahead, none of our verbs. Habens, ens, but we've got a verb right there. I keep forgetting. ens from habeo, a second conjugation participle. Ugh. Nominative, singular, masculine, present, active participle in prepositional phrase. Infirmitate, same form as that, so we don't need to parse it again. And then, sua, modifying infirmitate, therefore part of the prepositional phrase. His own, going with quidam and homo. Ibi, an adverb of place, which reminds me I didn't put adverb into the Greek. Triginta, so we have tri, our the first part of our number here, so we get the word for 3 out of that, not the English word 3, but the number. Ginta is a ending that the Latin language uses to show the tens, and then octo is just our single digit 8. Onos on E, so os, accusative, plural, masculine, modifying these two. Being owned by habens. Octo is indeclinable. And I don't remember if triginta is as well. It doesn't make sense for it to be declinable. It's only a limited number of them are. And it depends on whether or not it's cardinal or ordinal. I'm going to have to leave that as it is. Sorry. Okay, there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's take a look at it in its own context. Now, angel of the Lord used to descend after a time, into pool, and water was moved, used to be moved. And who first might have descended into pool after motion of water was made healthy from whatever infirmity he was being held back. Now there was certain man there 38 years having in his sickness. And there you have it. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a good day. Voila.